Hello. All right. Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome to WebEd 4.0. This is a webinar series on education, technology, and innovation brought to you by Microsoft Philippines this National Teachers Month. Through this webinar, we hope to share more tips and learnings from our community to more teachers in the Philippines and across the world. On our fourth year of running this webinar, we're excited to bring back WebEd and celebrate National Teachers Month here in the Philippines. A huge shout out to our partners at NTM, Nazareth National University, and WebEd ETU for co-hosting this webinar series with us. Next slide, please. This is a Microsoft Teams Live event. Microsoft Teams Live events are an extension of Teams meetings that enables you to schedule and produce events that stream to large online audiences of up to 20,000. Microsoft Teams is part of the Microsoft 365 suite. To know more about Microsoft Teams and check your access, go to teams.microsoft.com and log in with your school or organization email address. Next slide, please. My name is Grace, and I am one of the program managers for Microsoft Philippines. Together with me in this webinar is my colleague Jomar, who will co-facilitate and monitor the questions and suggestions or comments along the way. Since this will be a recorded session, the Microsoft team will monitor all of the questions asked during this webinar, and you may do so by checking back at our Facebook page in this week, and then we will check all of your questions and entertain all of your suggestions and comments from there. All right. Fast forward to the next slide, please. All right, so I guess this webinar session is powered by our community called the Microsoft Education Center, and today we're pulling in one popular topic, and it's about Microsoft Teams, which is a very popular tool among schools and teachers and students right now in terms of using it for remote and blended learning. Today, we're very excited to invite one of our Showcase Incubator school leaders, a Microsoft Education Ambassador, and a Microsoft Innovative Educator Fellow, who will be sharing more about how they're using Microsoft Teams as an institution and how they are implementing it school-wide. So without further ado, I would like to call on Miss Adelina Kalub, the School Director of Nazareth National University. Hello, Miss Del.
So good morning. How's everyone today? Everyone is yeah. Today we're gonna discuss how to make uh, or how to improve your collaboration using Microsoft Teams. So without further ado, I think I will start off with my presentation. So last March 10 marked the beginning of actually it was a start when we started thinking about what we're gonna do, where are we headed to, okay? And the national government announced that classes will be suspended indefinitely beginning March 10. And with that in uncertainty, we are actually, caught off guard. Our teachers didn't know what to do. That time that it was announced, we were still in the middle of our school year. We started late. Unlike the DepEd schools, you started in June. Nazareth School started in July. We're supposed to end our classes around April 15. So with the announcement on March 10, everyone was caught off guard. We still have like 6 or 7 weeks to go before our end of classes. So that time we had to make some quick decisions because of the uncertainty, because it's a virus and we don't know when it's gonna stop and it's when it's gonna be cured, when a solution will be developed. So we were unsure about that. So we have to make at least plans. So we have to plan to put in some certainty amidst all uncertainties. So what happened, or one of the realizations that we've had before was, okay, what if no vaccine was developed? Because even after April, mid of April, the number of COVID positives are still rising, and we don't see any hope, or we don't see, well, not actually not seeing any hope. We're seeing that it's not going to be resolved in the near future, meaning that people, or the people in our government would still need months, it's going to be months before a cure is developed. So we envision that from the traditional classroom wherein we use the whiteboard, we're there meeting our students physically, we're doing face-to-face classes. One of the things that we made a decision, or one of the decisions that we made during that time, is to shift. How is it that we can continue the school year even without the face-to-face meeting? So beginning in April, we were already laying out all the foundations, all the plans, all the preparations that we need to. That is on the assumption that we will still, as scheduled, open our classes in July, because that was what is scheduled in our calendar. So we had to address a lot of issues. So it's not easy really for us doing that. So a lot of issues in terms of connectivity, in terms of gadgets, in terms of capability of people, okay, not only with the students, but also with the faculty. In terms of connectivity, we conducted a survey, okay, amongst our students. Only half of our students have stable connectivity or internet connectivity. Half of our students do not have computers, they do not have laptops. Okay, but we are sure that 98% of our students have smartphones. So it was taken into consideration during that time that, whenever we plan for, when we plan for lessons, when we plan for curriculum delivery, at the back of our mind, we always have to keep in mind that it has to work using a cell phone or using a smartphone. Okay. In terms of capability, okay, fine if they came from Nazareth for the past school year, because we've been using the tools even before, okay, even before the pandemic, we've been using the tools already. But what about those who will enroll to us, or who will enroll in our school for the first time? So that's a question of capability. And again, a question on capability on how we will implement it in the early grades. Like we have kinder, we have nursery. How can we expect them, okay, to be active, to be more participative in front of the computer when in the face-to-face setup, we're having a hard time really, keeping them in place. So those are the issues that we need to address before transforming. Another set of issues that we have to address is the anxiety. A lot of people are anxious. What's gonna happen? Okay, it's gonna be different. They don't know what to expect. Most of them are scared. A lot of them are stressed. Stressed that they would need to buy new gadgets. Stressed that they would have to learn things on their own. And it's also causing stress on parents, because how will they teach students? For small kids, okay, parents are fine. Okay, they're telling us that they can handle the lessons of kinder, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. But how do we expect parents of senior high school to teach their kids? Okay, it's so hard for a parent to coach their kid on calculus or advanced chemistry or advanced physics. So at the start of our implementation, at the start when we were orienting our parents that we're gonna shift to remote learning, we've been getting a lot of resistance. In fact, we can see in our Facebook page, in our web page, that parents are ranting that we postpone the school year, we stop for a month, we start the school year in January. Okay, so at that time we were actually stuck at crossroads. Okay, are we going to let those anxieties, those resistance take over, or we're gonna look for solutions, okay, to make things work for everyone? We finally made the decision that the only way that we need to do is to move forward. Okay, as validated by the DepEd secretary, learning cannot stop. And if we stop for one school year, it's going to cost the government more. So they're saying that the government will lose around 25% in revenues. It's the government, no? Going to lose 25% of its revenues, meaning our economy might fail if we stop education or we stop school even for just 1 year. That was the analysis conducted by NEDA. And it was really announced by our DepEd Secretary, Secretary Briones. So we made the choice. We will move forward. And we've always relied on our favorite quotation that, you know, if we cannot transform, if we cannot think of new ways, like if we continue to teach our students, this is by John Dewey, if we continue to teach our students the way we taught them yesterday, then we rob them of tomorrow. So this was our going statement. This is what prompted us to decide that the only way is to move forward. Okay? Because there are other ways. Definitely we can look for other ways. And that is to transform. Transform from the traditional classroom into a new classroom, or what we call now the new normal classroom. Along the way, when we're doing our plans, we actually realize that transformation is not just about changing the process. Transformation is about people. Transformation is about everyone in the community. You have the students, you have the parents, you have the faculty and the staff. Transformation will not happen if people will not believe what you are planning to do. And what we did at Nazareth, we only have one credo, and that is to deliver education that works. So we had it at the back of our mind that as educators, are we going to let the pandemic, are we going to get the current situation get in the way? Are we going to let it stop us from delivering education that works? So we have to change, we have to shift, we have to go back to our passion, we have to do a reassessment, a reflection. Why are we here as educators? As educators, we are here to really serve our students. They are our primary client. Problems were there, problems were encountered before, but we were able to overcome them. So what made it easier for us to transform is actually the mindset. Okay, the mindset that, if we have a problem right now, it can be solved. What made it easier for us is that our school leaders, our school leaders are the one who headed the transformation. And we've always believed that if it comes from the top, if the okay, if the transformation, if the ideas or the initiatives come from top, the top management, it's easier to cascade it down to the faculty level. So all our school leaders were very active. Okay, we're very lucky that they supported us in whatever things that they do, from the owners all the way down to our president. They were always there. They backed us up. So we just have to concoct what would work, what we think would work for us. It did, or it actually required us to have a real mindset shift. And when we say mindset shift, it's not just, benchmarking from what other schools or what other countries are doing, but it's really looking at our process, looking at what we have and making it work. Okay. Our mindset is not just, hey, we can copy whatever this school is doing or we can copy whatever this country is doing. It's really more of being focused. It's really more of, knowing what you have and making the most of what you have. It's just like it's actually moving out from our comfort zones. Like before, we are so complacent that the puzzle is solved already for us. The puzzle is complete. Like the curriculum is there. We've already trained our faculty on methodologies. So the picture is complete. But when the pandemic came, suddenly there's one piece missing. And we have to fill in that one hole or that missing piece in the puzzle to make everything work again. So when we adapted flexible remote, okay, we are actually adapting the remote learning, meaning everything is done online. We had to also look at it, okay, how will our students feel? And this is what we have. Our students felt that when we go remote, they would lose that personal touch that they've been getting when we had that, where we had or we're still conducting our classes face to face. And this is the most important concern that we need to address, the personal touch. The feeling that, even if we don't see our students face to face, they will still feel that they are with us. When they are learning, when they are studying, they can easily reach out to us, they can talk to us. So this was the very essence on our decision. We have to make sure that we bring in, okay, while the setup is different, while the environment is different, we bring in the same experience that they have when they were still doing face-to-face classes. So we had to redesign everything. We had to look at what we had, and we have to capture the value of all the tools that we've already had. Okay? Why are we doing that, and why do we need to do that? Number one, given the pandemic, it's not only the people who are experiencing financial setbacks. We've also seen that it could bring a lot of financial setbacks also to our school. So it's really more of capturing what we have. It's more on identifying what we have and try to figure out how can we maximize what we have. And so far, when we did our assessment, what we have is actually Microsoft 365. That's one of the bigger two. And then we found out, okay, when we looked at our license, we are subscribed to A3, and we also have Minecraft for education. There are Flipgrid, you have Yammer. There are new entries now who are partnering with Microsoft. We have Wakelet, we have Forms, we have Sway, we have Teams, and we have our information system already in place. So the only missing link is how do we connect now to our students. So one of the things that we did is actually just partner with the telco company and get a broadband kit, give them 30 gig of data, wherein that connectivity or that plan already includes one gig is actually intended simply for Microsoft alone. So for 25 school days in a month, they will have 25 gigs allotted just for Microsoft. So when we designed our curriculum, okay, at the back of our mind, we're always thinking that, these are the only technology tools that we will use for the meantime. Let's maximize it. Let's make it a point that students will not have a hard time looking for another tool. So when we decide, everything revolved around these tools. And we decided that Teams is our main collaboration tool. Okay, why Teams? Okay, why Teams? Why did we decide? So Teams is actually a collaboration tool that was released in 2017. It's part already of Office 365, Microsoft 365. Okay, so just like what Grace mentioned a while ago, if you still don't have it, if you still haven't installed it, you can go to teams.microsoft.com and get a copy of it. Teams allow users, any user, be it a staff, be it your faculty, be it your students, or even parents, you can bring them in. It allows them to communicate, collaborate, and stay organized, meaning you can set up portals, you can set up channels within Teams, and you can create groups, working groups. Okay, you can create small teams who will work together on a particular project, or probably discuss a particular lesson. So why did we decide on using Teams? It's actually a one-stop shop. Okay, this is very important when you're running a remote class. If you give students too many sites to visit, if you ask students to go to different applications, chances are you will lose some of them along the way. Some of them would get lost. So organizing everything inside Teams, students will just click on their calendar, join, okay, the invite for the team, and everything is there. They will see everything that they need inside Teams. So what we need, or what we did at the back end for the faculty, what we did was to set up everything so that students can see already what they need inside our collaboration tool. A lot of students are already familiar with productivity tools like Excel, like PowerPoint, etc. Everything that we've integrated inside Teams is actually advantages for the students because they don't need to memorize, or they don't need to learn new tools. So we only use what they were familiar with for the longest time, because we wanted them to focus on learning. We want them to focus on the lessons that we deliver, not on learning a new software. And the way Teams is designed, it's very user friendly. Okay, you just click. Okay, you just click on things, and you can do your own exploration. It doesn't need, you don't have to be a techie person for you to be able to use the tool. As long as you know how to click, how to open your computer, once you're inside, everything is what we call intuitive. You can do it, you can manage, you can browse through the tool anytime. Okay, and that's what made us decide to use that one. Now, inside Teams, how does it work? There are different types of teams that you can create. This is what makes it perfect for an organization, because it's not just made for classrooms. Okay, you can work with a class. So this is the regular one. This is the most popular one that teachers are using now. You can create a class inside Microsoft Teams that teachers and students can collaborate on lessons. You can do group discussion, you can do class discussions, you can collaborate on projects. Another thing that is attractive for Microsoft Teams is that you can also create teams for your staff. In fact, since March 10 or March 15, when enhanced community quarantine was announced or was implemented in Metro Manila, okay, in Metro Manila, no one could go to work, not even our staff. The only people who can go to school was the security guard. They are the only ones allowed to enter the school. Building administrators were allowed, but on a restrictive mode. It was so hard for us administrators to run a school without being there physically. It's so hard to put people together. And the good thing about the one that you have identified, Microsoft Teams, is you can actually set up a team for your staff and manage school operations from there. Aside from these two, there's also what we call personal learning community, which you can use for professional development. Our usual summer courses, you call it, in your case, you call it your inset for the Department of Education. That's your in-service training. All our trainings for our faculty were actually done inside Microsoft Teams. So we created professional learning community so that faculty and staff can collaborate on how they will be able to do their, or how they will be able to formulate their curriculum. Everything was done remotely. Nobody can report to school. Okay, and now we are able to we are able to utilize also the last type of group or the last type of team available in the tool, which is the elder. This is actually a very generic, and we're actually using it like, okay, though it's very hard to do practices online for our student athletes, but we created a team for them. It's just for consultation, it's for mentoring, it's for coaching, so that they can still they can still stay physically fit. Even if they are not practicing with the team, they can collaborate. So it's just so funny that they have to play volleyball online. But no, it's just the positioning, it's just the etc. It's fun because they can still meet with one another, though not physically, and play the real-time game, but still they are not out of touch when it comes to getting tips on how to play the sport, okay, and win tournaments. So that's what we're doing. So there are four types. You have the class, you have the staff, you have the professional learning groups. With PLCs, you can even invite external experts to join your group so that, when you build your curriculum, experts from across the globe can help you out. So you can actually invite them to your teams. So just like what we're doing right now, I've invited some of the MIEs across the globe so that we can share experiences, so that they can share experiences, their experiences also with our faculty. So, without further ado, I will take you now on a tour just to make sure that you can imagine what's happening inside Microsoft Teams. So, I'll just shift my screen. Okay, I'll screen, and then I'll send live, and then you will see here. Sorry, you had to see that screen because I have to share my screen with you so that I can demonstrate, or I can demo Teams. All right. So when you open Teams, you will see here the screen. Okay. If you haven't started using it, this will be blank. Okay. You will not see any. I will just have to move this. There you go. Oh, it's still there at the top. Okay. At the upper right portion of my screen, which is, I guess, in your view, is being blocked by, okay, there. You will see here, join or create team. Of course, when you open Teams, it's going to be at Windows, and then the usual way you open an application. So if you are a first-time user, this is blank. You will not see any team here. And this button here will be a box, join or create team. So it becomes a button once you've created different types of team. So as you can see, I am running the school using Microsoft Teams. We do have our faculty and staff development here. This is another set of teams. We also created a team for our parents so that we can collaborate with our parents. We can easily give them the announcement. They can check in anytime with their class, with their kids' advisor on how their kids are doing in school. Okay. And we have here the different classes. So once you're inside, you can just join or create team, and then here, create a team. So this is what I was mentioning a while ago. This is what I mentioned a while ago. You can create a class if you are wanting to create one for your lesson delivery. Or if it's going to be a learning session with your co-faculty, you can create a PLC or a personal learning community. If you wanted to work on school operations, like for example, faculty meetings, you can create a staff team. Or if you are putting up clubs or organizations in your school for your students or study groups for your student, you can create other teams, other type of teams. When your students also access Teams, they will also have this particular setup. Mostly they have the class and they have the other. So this one is actually available so they can create their own groups. But whenever we ask our students, whenever we tell our students to create your own team, we normally just recommend that they use other because it's for the study groups. Okay, so just create, let's say for example, I'm going to create a new class. You just type in. So just like what I mentioned a while ago, using Teams is very user friendly. So when you click create a class, you just type the name, you click on next, voila, Team will create that for you. Then you can start adding your students. So you can type in your student's email address. Okay, you can type in your teacher's email address on the teacher tab. Okay, the good thing about Teams is that even if they are not yet subscribed to Microsoft 365, you can always add them as guests in your class. They can still access your lesson, they can still attend classes, they can still view your lessons, okay, as guests. Okay, the only difference with that one is that, they will have limited access, but still they will be able to attend your class. So this is a good thing for us now. Because one thing that we need to address now is for us to reach out or for us to reach our students and be able to deliver our classes. Okay, so I will skip this one because I'm not adding. So once you have created your class, this is your view. So you can actually upload your class materials here for distribution to your students. You can actually start a conversation here. Okay, so by clicking on new conversation, you can actually make an announcement. Hello, class. Okay, we will be delivering your lessons in this team. They can reply. Okay, you can upload class materials. So what's the good thing about uploading class materials? You can put in your presentations, you can upload your recording, you can record every discussion that you have. You can upload reference materials, you can upload tutorial materials, anything that they can use inside the class or anything that they can do to complete their lesson, to ace their classes, you can upload here. Of course, when you upload, please make sure that you still follow the intellectual property law, that if you are getting it from somewhere, you have to cite wherever that came from, wherever the learning material came from. So citation is still very important. So you can create a class notebook. So the class notebook here, it works like a Catleya notebook. So for those of you who've been studying since the 90s, I think it's still present now. The Catleya notebook is the one that you have the green, the pink, the yellow one. You put them together in a binder, and then you have different colored small notebooks within that one. And then inside that notebook, you have several pages. That's how class notebook works. Notebook or OneNote, that's also free. It comes with Windows 10. Is integrated in Teams. So that's a good thing about it. You can also add other applications. So just like what we've had, you have your Excel, you have your OneNote, you have your Planner, you have your PowerPoint, you have SharePoint. You can even stream videos inside. Okay, you can create your own wiki within Teams. Everything is here. You can integrate Wakelet. So I know some of you already attended the workshop for Wakelet. So you can actually integrate Wakelet in your Teams. Also forms, you can include surveys here, you can include quizzes here. So this is the most great feature, or most, not great, no, that's very redundant for me. This is the greatest feature of MS Teams. You can actually put in all the applications together in just one application. So students need not open too many files because you can actually direct which one they will use. So everything is here. You can just add. So once you add an application, it appears here. Another thing that's good for that's the one of the best feature is the assignments. You can actually put in here assignments. Okay, you can create assignments here and then distribute them to your class. I guess at this point it would be better if I show you the one or a class with an assignment. I'm gonna show you a class that I am handling right now. So this one is a management class. So this is what I was telling you a while ago. You can put in like all the conversations are here. Okay, and then I have here an announcement that, okay, I have here an announcement that all recording of our sessions are going to be provided so that students who are not able to capture everything during our class can still review our lessons. So I provided here, so these are the links. When I click on this, the students can review. So even if session 1 happened 3 weeks ago, they can still watch the video of our class. And then these are channels. For each of the section that I am handling, I created a channel for here. See, now I know, I've seen I have a typo error. Okay, anyway, within the channel, you can actually send them the presentations that you used in class. So if they want to refer to that, okay, if they want to refer to that presentation whenever they're doing their assignment, is that they can always open your presentation. So one of the things that I do whenever I create a PowerPoint presentation is I put notes so that when they review my PowerPoint presentation, they will be able to review or recall also or read additional notes. So this is what I was telling you about assignments. So you can actually create assignments and monitor how many students have actually turned in their assignments. So like assignment number 1, I've assigned this to 101 students. And out of the 101, only 92 have submitted their assignments. So as a teacher, this one is actually very important because I can follow up who are those 9 students who have not submitted their assignments yet. For assignment number 2, who are those 7 students who have not submitted their assignments yet. And for practice exercises, how many or who are those 11 students who have not turned in their work. And once you return this, students will see their grades. The good thing about Teams is that with the student view, they will only see their own grade. They will only see their own notebook. They will not be able to see their classmates' work unless they share it. So if you have students who are actually very shy to say everything in front of the class or to share their knowledge with the class, they are offered some sort of a privacy here. Even in the class discussion, if they go in the general channel tab, whatever they post here, their classmates would see what they posted. Even in the general tab, everybody, all the sections will see what they are asking or what their questions are. So, some of the students are not really comfortable asking questions in front of the class. The good thing about Teams is that students can chat with teachers directly. Like for example, this one. Okay, I have here some student who messaged me. Okay, so they ask questions personally. So somehow their privacy is protected. Their privacy is, they still know that only them and their teacher will see their questions. That will not have any effect on their self-esteem. They can freely ask questions. So that's one thing good about Teams. Students who wanted to have some sort of privacy can keep their privacy. All right. So I know that given the time that we have now, it's so it's so hard for me to discuss everything with Teams. But good thing is that, okay, all right. Good thing is that if you go to Microsoft.com, education.microsoft.com, okay, you can always find additional training. So just like what, if you're wondering where you can download, so I have here the link, Microsoft.com. It will take you direct to the download page of Teams. Okay, and for more trainings, you can actually visit education.microsoft.com, create an account, and more teams are or more trainings about Microsoft Team, the more technical aspect of it. What I've just shown you are just the basic. It's just an intro how you can use it inside the classroom. So you can also take some of the trainings offered in education.microsoft.com. All you need to do is to create an account. Okay, how do you create an account? You just sign up, create an account, sign up, and then click don't have an account yet, and then create an account. So that's how you do it. And then you can look at education.microsoft.com. The learning path for Microsoft Teams is CBC 4F6DE. It's just a code, it's a link. So when we provide you with this, all the participants, when we provide you with this, you can go to this link and access a more detailed training on Microsoft Teams. So it's just a startup because I know 1 hour is not enough to discuss everything in Teams. And once you've signed up with education.com, you can actually redeem some points, earn some points to become an MIE. So the code is flashed in red. That's T-ACDF3E920. So I guess that's it for now. If you have questions, you can type it there. You can type it in the chat box and we will answer that for you. So I'll now turn over the floor to our facilitator so we can address the question and answer.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Miss Del. Thank you for sharing your journey on Microsoft Teams at Nazareth School of National University. Again, we continue to say that we're very happy and proud to partner with your school and, showcasing and highlighting how you're using Microsoft Teams. Now, if you don't mind, I have a couple of questions to throw in. And I'm also interested, and maybe it's something that you can share to the audiences today. So, I know that you've been advocating the use of Microsoft technology as part of your teaching and learning process. Now, personally, during this time of the pandemic and when we're all remote, how did Microsoft Teams change the way you teach? So, if you can condense and come up with, how did you actually change your practice during this time? Yeah. Well, I think you are far from the microphone, so we can't hear you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there, we
So
can hear you.
okay.
Mm-mm.
So how did Microsoft Teams change the way we teach? Well, actually,
Yeah.
number one, before we cannot imagine delivering the lessons without seeing our students face to face. But with Microsoft Teams, once you turn on your cameras, like what I will do right now, so that you will see me as I speak. I just don't know where I will appear.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay,
There.
so just like this, when everybody turns on the camera, then students would feel that you are present. So what we did is, so nothing actually changed, because to make the transition more easy for our student is we still did our regular face-to-face routine. Like every Monday at 7:40 in the morning, we still have our morning prayers, we still have our lupang hinirang, and then at 12 o'clock, whatever class is scheduled at 12 o'clock, we still pause for the Angelus. So all the routines that we were doing during the face-to-face sessions, we just moved it digitally. So everything we just run in Teams. So students did not feel that they were not in school. Okay, so we just have to fix their schedules in the same manner that we did it. So they attend classes, but instead of walking to their classrooms, what they're doing now is opening their calendar and clicking on their classes. So when they click, they're there. At the start of the school year, funny thing, there were some students who get lost. They go to another class. So at the start of the school year, especially for small grades, we even created a team named Hallway. So when the name Hallway is that when you're lost and you don't know where to go to, you just click on the hallway, stay there, and then the teacher will pick you up. So the teacher will go to
Right.
the hallway and check if there are students who don't know where to go to. So we're just imagining that we are still in the classroom. We're just doing it differently because we're in front of the computer. But as much as possible, we try to bring in the same experience that
Mm,
they have. So we try to personalize everything.
right.
And because of the pandemic, we one of the things that the top management really asked us to focus on is monitoring the health and wellness of our students, and that included their emotional stability. So one of the themes that we created is, if you noticed in my slide a while ago, we have the basic ecclesial theme. That's actually a mentoring, a coaching by our pastoral ministry. So if
Mm,
students actually are not feeling, or they are emotionally unstable, they can go there, ask the sisters if they can provide accompaniment with them. So they have sessions with the sisters in our school, and they have mentoring sessions.
right.
So in the regular classrooms, how did they address that? Me, for example, I'm handling a class. I'm not doing the regular attendance, like, doing the roll call, like, for example, Jones Malgapo, present, Daniel
Mm,
Toledo, present. We're not doing that. what I do to set the tone in my class is that, okay, I just make an announcement for today's attendance. Can you type in the chat box, how do you feel today? So they just
Yeah.
type in one word that I'm still sleepy, I'm tired, I did not get sleep last night. So that's what they were doing. Okay, in some instances, I would ask them, what are the names of your pets? If you don't have one, just type in what type of pet you would want to have in the future.
Mm-mm.
Or I would type in what's your favorite breakfast, what's your favorite lunch, or what kinds of foods you can cook.
Right.
That one would actually set the personalization in the class. So one thing that really changed is the way we talk to our students. We have to be very creative. Like, it's so funny talking in front of the computer. Like, for example, I'm here, I'm talking to about 100 or more, probably 1,000 people out there, but I cannot see your faces. So it's so hard to imagine how each one of you would look like. Okay, I don't even know if you are still listening to me or like that. So we have to be very creative. Definitely, that's one thing that changed amongst all of us. The teachers now learn to adjust how to talk to people even without seeing them.
Mm-mm.
So that's one thing that's very important. That's one
Right.
thing that that really changed. We had to practice. So one one of the advice that I gave my teachers before is that, for you to be able to master that, imagine talking to a tree. Okay? If you can get the tree to talk back to you, then you are successful. Of course, the tree will not talk back to them.
Mm-mm.
So I tell them, if the tree talks back to you, takbo ka na. There's something inside that
Right.
tree. All right. Yeah. So any more
Yeah.
questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. So I think my takeaway from what you said is it's really ensuring that the learning that we bring to our students is actually personalized, right? Because especially during this time, it's really hard to be able to control the learning environment since every student is situated in their own home. So it's really up to the teacher and ensuring that even though they are remote, we still create that learning environment for them and we acknowledge that they are actually at different locations, they have different situations that they're in. So we give them as many alternatives and as many parang familiar points just so that we still anchor it back and parang bring it back to the classroom setting. So thank you for sharing that, Miss Del.
And
Now,
another thing, I'll
right,
add
go ahead.
something.
Mm-mm.
One thing that really makes it more meaningful for the student is that towards the end of your class, always give them 5 minutes to chat with their classmates, so that they feel that they have classmates.
Yes.
And and,
Oh.
and it's the most. I mean, for me, that's the most. What do you call, the funny moments, I would call it, in my class,
Mm-mm.
because they would really share with their classmates, and they turn on mo nga, like for example, one of them
Uh-huh.
said, turn on mo nga, sige nga, tingnan mo nga kung sino mas mahaba buhok sa atin, and we said, because of the pandemic. And then they would make some assumption na, oh no, uy, pwede ka naman mag-ahit, hindi naman kailangan ng barbero para mag-ahit. So they would make jokes like that. So it's as if
Mm-mm.
they are together.
Right.
That one, if you provide those, Microsoft Teams can actually provide that, because they can see their classmates, they can talk to their classmates. That's the
Mm-mm.
good thing about this one. It's a two-way communication too, so they can collaborate with one another.
Mm-mm.
So it personalized even their experience with their classmates. It can be personalized.
Right. Okay. All right. So, as siguro just to close the session and to, inspire our viewers today, maybe if you can share that siguro a couple of tips for teachers who are just starting out with remote learning because I know of course all of us are playing at different level of, knowledge, mastery and, different kinds of resources. So, if you have that parang tip for teachers during this time and how should they get started with remote learning?
Okay. So when we started this, actually, yeah, like what I mentioned kanina, we were at crossroads. We focused on the issues too much, without really realizing that what is really just important with our students is getting that personal touch. So for starters, I think the first thing that you should do is, number one, imagine who are your students, get the feel who you will be dealing with, who you will be teaching in the future. because once you know your students, once you know how they react to things, once you know how they are in their personal lives, then that would make personalization of your lessons a lot easier. Like
Mm.
for example, in my class, okay, connectivity will always be an issue. Gadgets will always be an issue. So knowing already how your students, how they connect, what devices are they using, that one would already enable you to personalize your teaching. Like for example, I start with the, okay class, if you're having problems with your connection or if you're having problems with your gadgets, you just tell me. Make that point, okay, make that adjustment that you can negotiate with your students how they will comply with the requirements. So my tips, number one, get to know your students, get to know their capabilities, what what materials or what gadgets they have, what type of connectivity they have. Okay. Also find out if they are comfortable communicating with the entire class, or if they would want a more personalized communication with you. Those are the things that you need to start with. And once you have
Mm.
that, planning your lesson will be very easy.
Right. Right. Okay, so again, just like any other classroom, I think it's really important that at the center of what we do and why we're doing this, it's really important for us to really put our focus to the students and their needs. So thank you for wrapping it up beautifully, Miss Dell. So that being said, maybe we can flash the slide of the Microsoft Educator Center, because as Miss Dell said earlier, if you want to learn more about Microsoft Teams and how you can administer and start your own classes, you may do so by checking out our free courses at education.microsoft.com, right? And because Miss Dell gave you a code earlier, all of you will be able to redeem your points and at least earn your first badge in the community. So it's a very exciting portal wherein you can learn more about how you can use technology for your teaching and learning. All right. So just like Nazareth School National University, every DepEd teacher here in the Philippines also has access to Microsoft 365 faculty license, and that definitely entitles you to download all of these amazing tools that Ms. Dell mentioned earlier. You have access to Microsoft 365 as well as Microsoft Teams. So if you already have your account, please feel free to go to office.com and download your own Microsoft Teams and Office 365 apps. If you don't have your accounts yet, please contact your division ITO. And again, for more training content, as shown in this slide here today, visit us at education.microsoft.com. All right. So again, thank you for joining us here at WebEd 4.0. We thank our Showcase Incubator School, Nazareth School at National University for hosting this webinar with us. So thank you to Miss
Thank you
Dell, of course.
also for getting us here.
All right. So if you want to learn more, you may visit our Facebook page. We are Microsoft Education. If you want to learn more about National University and Nazareth School, you may visit their Facebook page. Miss Del, would you like to plug your Facebook page and website?
Well, it's NUNS. You just have to type in nuns. It's not the
Okay.
madre, ha?
Yes.
It's National University dash Nazareth School. If they type in Nazareth School, um, our Facebook page will come out first.
Right. Okay. So again, thank you. Thank you for spending your Saturday with us. To all of our viewers here today, you may view this video on demand when we upload this in our Facebook page next week. Okay. Again, in behalf of our team at Microsoft, we greet all of the teachers. Happy
Happy
National Teachers
Teachers
Month.
Day.
Happy
Happy
National
Teachers
Happy
Day.
Teachers Month to you, Miss Dell. You are
Happy
a teacher
Teachers Month to
yourself.
you also, Miss Gracie.
All right. So that
Bye.
being said, maraming salamat po. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning into WebEd 4.0.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.